Welcome back.
I never know what to say at the start of these, but yeah, we took a week off, which is a thing that happens. I'm so glad we've moved away from this idea on the internet that in order to do successful, you have to break yourself.
Yeah.
If you look at the early days of YouTube, everyone followed a very strict, consistent schedule. Now
they leave for 9 months at a time.
right, the bigger YouTubers upload more inconsistently. They understand their mental health comes first. I'm not saying we were on a mental health break, but there is things in our life that we needed to focus on. So we took a week off. We're probably going to take more weeks off in the future. And that's okay because that's what the internet is nowadays, you know?
But we're here, We love it. We love coming back every time. We always have stuff to talk about. Sometimes I feel like we talk about the juiciest stuff off of the podcast. Not intentionally. It's just like we're always talking about movies, shows, pop culture.
There's always stuff to talk about.
So we just get into a rant, and then we can't come back on here and say what we already said because then it doesn't feel authentic.
It's true.
It'd be weird.
But hey, if you do want to hear some of our post-podcast thoughts, we have a perfect series for that called After Hours. We're going to work on the first episode today. It'll go up on Patreon. Shout out to a friend of ours, Russ, for being our first patron, our first helmsman. He's the best. You guys should totally join the Patreon family as well in the description below. Also, we launched a Discord where the community can celebrate their nerdom, and we want you to be a part of it. So you can join again through the description or go to linktree/fragmented zone and click on the Discord invitation there.
Today is a very special day. Well, let's start with the fact that it's our 1 year and 1 day anniversary.
Yeah.
Yesterday was our 1 year anniversary from when we started this podcast in audio format.
By the time this goes up, it'll be like 1 year and like 3 days.
Yeah. So 1 year and 3 days. But yeah, it's really cool. Obviously, the Fragmented Zone started as something completely different. Then, we took the name over here, joined our ideas together, and just like created this thing. And the early days were very fun. Yeah. The early days was like, me and Jerry just hopping on Discord and just like ranting and talking about all of our things. You can hear me get pretty heated on our early podcast audio. So
I always wanted to do a podcast, and I remember I said to Justin, hey, let's do a podcast. And he said, okay, and then we did it. I think like 2 weeks after he came up with the idea, we jumped on and we did the first episode of the Fragmented Zone. We didn't have an intro. We didn't have good artwork. We just did it. And now look at us.
Now we're slowly getting...
We have a trashy banner in our background.
But the art is great. Art is great.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sin.
Yeah, Sen is the artist that did that, by the way.
Absolutely amazing. You can check them out on Twitter. Yeah, you can check them out on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. They do really good work.
Do you think we'll ever get to the point where there's fan art of us out there?
What is it? The backyard basement. Not the backyard basement. That's not even...
The basement yard.
Yeah, the basement yard. Yeah.
The basement yard.
The basement yard asked the exact same thing, and they said no. But I believe there is. I believe there's some dark corner of the internet that always has some sort of thing. But I hope none comes out. At least not any inappropriate.
I have a lot of images in my head right now that
not any inappropriate.
Trying not to have.
Today is a special day, secondly, because look at our colors, guys.
Yeah, I'm wearing orange. I have orange pants on. You can't see them under the table because we don't give you that kind of perspective here.
He's wearing orange. I'm wearing blue, and there's 2 more people who are wearing orange and purple. Actually, red and purple. 2 more people who are wearing red and purple because today we are going to see TMNT Mutant Mayhem.
Cowabunga, dude.
I won't say the full name because it's a tongue twister, honestly. Try to say
Mutant Mayhem.
Try to say it 3 times fast.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Okay, maybe it wasn't that hard, but
it's a little hard.
It was hard enough to say. That's a wild name. Can you imagine pitching that idea to somebody? Look, guys. Imagine, right? A group of teenagers, right? They're not just any regular teenagers. They're ninjas. Mm-hmm. All right.
They're also, hear me out, mutants.
But just imagine they're mutated turtles.
Oh my god! And what if they caused a bunch of Mutant Mayhem? Wow. What? That's crazy.
And then what if we got to do with the craziest laugh imaginable on this earth to direct that movie? That'd be nuts.
You know, I'm a big TMNT guy. I think it was the 2012 animated series.
Yes.
That's what I grew up with. Well, not really. I didn't really grow up with it, but
I grew up with the. It depends because I've always like been a huge fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I've had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles everything growing up. I got the live action version that everybody hated for some reason on DVD. I still have it on DVD, and I also I grew up with the 2003 version.
Yeah.
Those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's so weird, right? Because it changes, right? When you talk about who your favorite turtle is, it's different, right? If you watched one version, you can totally give the answer, but it's totally different. My favorite characters have always been Donnie and Mikey, but sometimes they have changed to Raph because depending on the variation, they all have different attitudes, right? I absolutely hated 2012 Donnie. I thought 2012 Donnie was the most annoying character imaginable. The way he threw himself all over April, I hated him. I did not like him at all. But the live action version of Donnie, this newer version of Donnie, I know is going to be my favorite, and the 2003 version of Donnie were great.
It's funny. It's funny that you say that because my personal favorites have always been Raph and Leo.
Really.
So I'm on the complete opposite spectrum. I don't know. I always like a leader in blue, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But Raph to me is, I think, the most human
He
character
really
on
is.
the team, and I think that's why I've always been drawn.
You
to
really
him.
see him all the time dealing with different issues as far as just like his identity, who he wants to be, who he is. He's always he kind of has this like kind of like social anxiety thing in like the 2012 version.
Yeah.
He's very much a human. He very much like he wants to like be with people and kind of go his own way, but he loves his brother at the same time. He can do anything to protect them. So,
but let's do something real quick, impromptu, because I'm kind of curious. Mm-hmm. I want you to write down with your ranking of the 4 turtles, and I want to compare. But this is based on all of the versions of TMNT, like going in Mutant Mayhem. Yeah. In what order are you rocking with these characters? Because I'm curious to see your answers.
This is kind of hard because I love all of them very much. So this is not a list from best to worst. This is a list from like.
Absolutely no, because it's really hard to say. Because I'm looking at my 4 and I'm like, I like this character. I just my personal connection to him isn't as
Let me see.
deep.
Hold on.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in a Half Shell.
Turtle Power.
As a kid, I never understood that.
I still don't get it. I still don't understand.
I looked it up the other day. Apparently, it's a reference to when you order seafood, you order it on the half shell. Apparently, I've never heard that saying in my life.
Imagine my reaction in Mrs. Goble, maybe? Yeah. Imagine my reaction in her class when I found out what shell shock means. Because there's a song in the live action version. I'm not talking about the early live action version from the 90s. I'm talking about the current one in the 2000s. Imagine my there's a song at the end of that where it's like knock knock, you're about to get shell shocked, right? And I was singing that as a child. I was like, yeah, like shell shocked. Dude, it is a traumatic thing to go through. That was a weird song for them to make. I
Turtle Power.
I don't know who approved of that. But
I mean, they needed things that made sense for turtles, so they said shell shock.
Like, come on now, like,
all right, what's your number 1?
Donnie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My number one is Raph.
Yeah, I can see that.
I like Raph's voice actor a lot in the new one.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. Number two,
Mine's Mikey.
Leo for me. Number three,
Raph.
all right, I respect that. It does hurt me a little bit that you're putting Leo all the way at the bottom.
Really?
My number three is Mikey. I think Mikey and Leo for me like bounce back and forth. It's like a two or three kind of thing.
Yeah, what's your? I've never personally. I've just never like me and Leo have never personally clicked on a level. You know, it always seemed like and maybe because you relate to this more because you're an older brother yourself. But that older brotherness from him just never really. He's not really older at all. He's not older, but he has that idea and maturity.
I think it's more the idea that Leo has to keep his family together. And he feels this pressure from Splinter to be the mature one, to be the one that keeps his family together. And I really love that. My number four is Donnie, though. So your number four is Leo. Mm-hmm. So for you, it goes Donnie, Mikey, Raph, Leo. We almost had like a reverse list. Yeah. For me, it goes Raph, Leo, Mikey, Donnie. I don't know. I think Donnie just strikes me as like the biggest jerk. He's a know-it-all. He's got this big brain. He thinks he's the best, but he's not the best.
That's the exact Donnie who we had got in 2012 that I hated.
And I think that's why I feel this way, because that was my introduction to the Turtles.
Yeah, he's really not. Like, his character in that version really makes me mad. But the reason I love him so much in all other iterations is because I really think he's kind of, sometimes, at times, like, the most OP, like, Ninja Turtle. Like,
he does have the brain and the brawn.
When you literally talk about, like they don't really show his brawn, but he can do literally the exact same thing that all the rest of them can do because they all trained under the same regimen. Now, honestly, obviously, some of them have better fighting abilities than others. Like Leo and Raph are obviously the more advanced out of all four of the brothers because they obviously train. I think they train harder. Yeah. I think they put in more effort. And I think Leo, he definitely is like, I gotta be the best of the best to like make sure that like everything's okay and everything's all right. But as far as more than the average like ninja goes, like I think they are literally like Donnie, for him to be as smart as he is and be able to figure out all this stuff and
also still be pretty awesome.
Yeah, ninja. Literally be able to fight like how he does. Yeah. I think he's like definitely OP, and that's why I love him so much because obviously I'm not the smartest cookie or
he's got a great balance.
Yeah, I think he's.
I do agree with that, and I like Donnie. I just don't relate to Donnie that much. I think I'm kind of biased because of the 2012 animation.
I completely get that.
Growing up, I couldn't really separate the personalities of the Turtles. I had all the toys and the action figures, and they were all just different colors to me.
Yeah.
Bebop. I was a Bebop and Rocksteady. Mm-hmm. I had like the little morphing toys. Did you ever have those where like you flipped them around? Yeah.
Yeah, I had a Raph toy that the back of them kind of opened up and you can put like storage in it.
Nice.
Stuff, and it was also he also had a version. I don't know what's up with Raph and like motorcycles and stuff through like different iterations, but that man loves himself a motorcycle.
And then you look back at like the 1990. I just rewatched the 1990 the other night. Yeah. I'm trying to put together a letterbox ranking with Mutant Mayhem of all the Turtle movies. They did not have separate personalities.
No, even in the comics, in the original comics, they didn't even have separate colors. All of them were just red. All of them had this like red base. Even like obviously they were in black and white, but even when they got to color, literally all of them have red. And so then they start like I think each iteration we get, they start to adopt their own personalities, each one, and that's really why I kind of love like, because I think 2003 they all had this kind of like rugged idea. Like if you go back and watch that, like they all have white eyes. They all like they don't have pupils in that version. It's just whited out completely, which I thought was sick. I still think it's sick. I love when they do that. I'm a sucker for white eyes, but in that version they all have this kind of like rugged like attitude towards them. It's kind of like they're big and brawny. Like they also just have bigger physiques in that iteration. But I love it anyway because it's just great. Like the theme song itself is like wonderful, but they all have their own thing. Donnie, I think in that in the intro to that show, they're all like on different forms of transportation. Like Mikey has a skateboard,
Yeah.
But then Donnie has a scooter. I was so flabbergasted. I was like, who rides a who just has a scooter? One of them has a bike.
They try too hard to make Donnie unlikable.
They have a bike. They have a bike as well. Like I forgot who had a. I think it was Raph had a bike. I was like, dude, transporting on top of rooftops while using a bike has to possibly be the most like physically impossible thing you could do, because that sounds crazy. Like doing it with a skateboard and a scooter. All right,
that's some
a bike.
Top tier.
That's
like
crazy. I forgot what Leo had. I need to look it up. It's funny.
It's just you look at the original comic run when there was just a one shot. It was black and white. It was darker. Over the years, they've evolved. These little things were added to make them feel like their own characters, and now they strive in animation with like all these colors and top-notch action scenes. TMNT is not what it used to be, but I'm so excited that kids these days get the best version of TMNT.
Yeah, you can see that in TMNT 2012 version, the 3D, where there's a episode in which the universes kind of collapse, and the original black and white Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles come into that world, and it's kind of like they're all like, damn, you guys are really broody and dark. Just like, because they weren't like, obviously they're Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but they used to be like kind of darker
Turtles
characters, and they still are darker characters. Like if you go to the comics, like you can see with the Ronin run, that it can get dark.
Oh, and absolutely, Raph has these huge anger issues. They have such devastating stories about being forced to be like
lab rats,
hidden from the rest of the world for ever, and it is like a darker story, but it's covered up by this teenage family that just makes jokes and has fun, and I don't know. TMNT is so perfect.
It is.
Excited for this movie. Also, we got the Loki season 2 trailer. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did. I'm excited. I love him. What's that actor's name? I can't remember.
Jonathan Majors.
Oh my god, no. They were in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, Ki Hui Kwan.
Yeah.
Hui Kwan.
Honestly, like I think he was just made for multiverse. Like this, I just love his character. He's just such a kind dude. He's kind of like that. Like if I found out that the multiverse was real and there was like some sort of like area, some like waiting office, like I feel like he'd be there, and I'd just be able to like, yeah, he's like, you wait over there, you do this and you do that. Love him. Yeah,
I'm excited to see what he does in Loki season 2. I'm a little conflicted though. I'm excited for season 2
because you didn't like season 1.
The trailer has a lot of mischief and chaos to it, which I think is perfect because that's what Loki's all about. There's the part of the trailer where he says, "You're the god of mischief," and he said, "Always has been, always will be," and that is like vintage Loki to me.
So you can't really like get rid of that. It's like that's literally him. He's literally like, I think people forget sometimes that these characters are literally gods. Like like they're not like these children,
that's another thing.
These children are like literally learning about them like in like Greek mythology. It's like these people are.
She's like, we have to play God. He's like, no, we are God.
Yeah, it's like no, it's like these people are like I need to like exist and whatnot.
I'm so excited, but the reality is, I feel like they've been pushing Loki really hard over the past week because of how much of a flop Secret Invasion was. Secret Invasion, the finale is the lowest rated MCU project ever. So Marvel's response was, hold on, guys, wait. Loki season 2 is coming. Yeah. Stop talking about whatever's happening with SAG-AFTRA. Stop talking about Secret Invasion and how bad we are with AI and everything. Talk about Loki season 2.
And let us tell you that, like, obviously, I think we said this last episode, but, like, when it comes to these things, because Disney's one of the worst, honestly, when it comes to, like, the disrespect for people. Not, like, physically, but, like, I think verbally, with the whole message that people are sending out with this thing, saying, like, basically they don't care. They're waiting for these people to, like, not be able to pay for their stuff.
And they're ripping their own stars away from them. Tatiana Maslany just recently came out and called out Bob Iger for being so disconnected from the humans that are making the things he's making money off of. And, you know, Disney just doesn't care. Why
are people calling me?
You can take it if you want. Just cut it out.
No, I don't even know what's... Oh my god, they're on my way to my house.
Who is?
Tony.
Hello?
Don't come to my house.
My.
I'm not home.
Oh.
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay. Totally not here.
You're at my house.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be like a premise. Like, how long did you text me that you were coming to my house?
I don't know.
Oh, that should be like a day in advance thing. No,
I thought you'd be home.
I was definitely not home. Definitely not.
Where you at?
Places.
I'm not sure. Where you at?
No, I'm at places.
I'm here right now.
Bye, Tony. Anyways.
No, I'm keeping that in. I can't believe they really just showed up at your house.
You ever see that one audio on TikTok kills me? It's like, I don't know how many times it's like this. 1, 2, 3, stop calling my house. Dude, I love that dude. I don't know what that little dude. Oh my god, it's so funny.
What are we talking about? Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, okay,
Disney.
these people are inhumane, alright? I'm so sorry. These people are just not humans, you know? Obviously, like, money is the root of all evil. Money makes the world go around. Money does a lot of things. But, I mean, Jesus Christ. These people have no empathy whatsoever. Like, you hear about it, right? These people are real life villains.
Absolutely.
Like, they do not care. Like, they probably laugh. Like, they probably drink with their pinky up. They're like, they're probably British. They're probably British.
Another day with a lot of money. Oh wait, another day. I mean, the state of there. I hate hearing. There's something I hate hearing when people say the MCU should have stopped after Endgame, or we haven't had a good project since Endgame and No Way Home. I don't necessarily believe that's true. I still enjoy some of the things that Marvel puts out. For example, Guardians of the Galaxy was a phenomenal story, and part of that's because it came from James Gunn, and he's just got such a colorful and human, emotionful mind. And I love Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Um,
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, all those were good. And I'm not going to sit here and act like Marvel hasn't had a lot of misses after the effects of Endgame, but I'm not going to act like the stuff that we're getting isn't good and that we're not in a new era of testing and seeing what people like. Because it's huge. Like, you literally have to test your audience to see what they like, what they don't like, what they're going to put out. And honestly, I think that Marvel is doing that, but I think they're doing it in a weird way where they're just pushing out a bunch of stuff at us without like actually just taking a moment and receiving the data.
They don't.
They're just like, okay. Let's go about this.
That's the problem for me. Is they may put out a good project, and then the next project is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, those projects feel so disconnected. Connectivity is a huge part of what drives the MCU. There are studios, DCU flipped everything to try to replicate what Marvel has done. And they're losing it because they are pumping out more content to make more money, to have more people always talking about what Marvel is doing. That it's losing all touch of one story that we are a part of. There are certain things that just the multiverse, for example. In Loki, Sylvie breaks open the multiverse. In Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man breaks open the multiverse.
Yeah, it's like they don't. It's like they're not connecting.
Yeah,
but they're all doing this whole multiverse of madness thing, and it's just not overlapping the way it should. Yeah, and this kind of brings me to my next point of that. Like, I think superhero movies started here, and then it started here, simple line, and it flipped and it split into four, right? And then people were like, okay, we're tired of seeing the same iteration of things. So then they're like, okay, we gotta do something new, and then just completely like skip some sort of middle line. People like it was this whole thing where like people don't want to see origin stories anymore. But I don't even think we get origin stories anymore. I feel like they just pop us into the middle of the thing. And I know that these are new ages of heroes. Just like in general, we're like, I don't know how it's works, but like in general, we're just getting into new ages of heroes, right? With Blue Beetle and stuff. Like, we're just getting into this age of younger people to where I guess, you kind of see the superheroes in your area. You kind of want to be like them, and then I don't know. It's just, but I just don't understand why we're not doing origin stories anymore. It feels like we're not getting that like origin. It feels like they kind of like did like a whole like 180
because they're trying so hard to keep the story going. They don't want to slow down. They just want to throw new heroes into the mix, so we are part of this chaos, and everything is part of this chaos, and that's just too much. You know, we live in a world where there's so many different stories happening. You can't expect Marvel. They're not. I don't agree with directors that say like Marvel is bad. Marvel is ruining movies. I think Marvel is bringing movies to life in a way we've never seen before. But at the same time, they are kind of unfairly gripping the industry.
Mm-hmm.
They are forcing so much out of their audience, constantly not taking a breath, like you said, not taking a second to receive what works and what doesn't, just keeping it going and keeping people talking and thinking about Marvel.
And it's completely understandable that like people can't like keep up. Like people have,
and it feels like it's starting to break. People are mad about it now because they've been pushed so hard.
They need to start understanding that, because it's like, you know, we're gonna see projects where we can see projects, but it's like at some point it's like you are releasing literally so much. It's like we're trying to like get our footing and just take a break and take in like every information that we just released. Because like Loki released, we're like, oh my god, like, that was crazy. Like I needed a year break after Loki ended. I was like, Jesus Christ, like what just happened? Then we jump into more new projects, and it's like, is any of this connecting? Like what's happening? Like I'm just watching. I'm supposed to watch these projects and act like I didn't just see the multiverse breaking the two, and that Kang the Conqueror is about to like destroy everything, but he hasn't for the past year.
I find it so refreshing when I sit down and I watch a movie, and it feels like there's nothing coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I got a complete story. My biggest problem with the MCU recently is that it's always about the future. We are constantly building up to the future. And that's a big problem people had with Secret Invasion. You know, it didn't feel like Secret Invasion. It felt like a Nick Fury story that exists to build up to the Marvels, to build up to whatever is next with the Skrull story. You are always living in the future with Marvel,
constantly chasing
instead of just sitting there enjoying something for what it is. And it sucks even more when, like I mentioned earlier, that connectivity isn't there when you're so focused on building to a future that might not even exist because another writer is going to come along and have a different idea of what that story should be.
And I want you all to like think about the projects that we have gotten that still won't think about it. No Way Home ended. Nobody remembers Peter Parker, and he's really just in his own world. He has his own suit. He spins off. That's it.
That seemed like the end of that whole arc.
Guardians of the Galaxy. We get him. We get this story of them. They went through the universe and they're a family.
And there's an idea that Star-Lord may return, but that's not the main.
They went their separate ways, and Star-Lord, literally the after credit scene is just him sitting down eating some damn cereal. That was it. Shang-Chi, sure, they had that whole thing with like the bandits, and I thought that I was still so weird about that. But even then, at the end of that, you know, his father, like he handled all that. He has the 10 rings now. He is who he is.
I'd argue Avengers Endgame, even like it's one of the biggest movies of all time, and there were different plots going on. But at the end, we get closure for these characters. There's an idea that these stories may continue, but if that's where it would have ended, I think people would have been satisfied. Well, some people. Everything's divisive, but
and then you turn around and then you get stuff like Multiverse of Madness. Wanda dies, I guess.
She's not new lady shows up out of nowhere.
Gets a third eye. We're just like, okay, what the hell just happened? All right, we'll wait. Ant-Man Quantumania happens. Oh shoot, Kang has
that entire movie did not exist as the end of the Ant-Man trilogy. It existed as a Kang movie to show us what's coming.
Like Ant-Man is competing. Like I love the first two Ant-Man movies, and then 3 came out, and I was just like, what the
Loki season 1? I think a lot of people thought it was great. I did not love Loki season 1. I thought the finale was something special, but the rest just felt like filler. But the reality is, even the people that enjoy it can admit that Loki did not exist because it was a Loki show. It existed because they needed something to bridge into the next chapter a next chapter that's still going on, and now it's all falling apart. And it's like, what has it all been for?
I genuinely,
Like, if you can't deliver, why do it?
And I enjoyed Flash. I never really gave a solid review on it. I give it an 8 out of 10. You know, I fell asleep. I fell asleep in the middle.
Did you ever go back and see it again?
I got to. I have to. I have not. Is it out? Is it out of theaters? I think it's still in there, right?
It is, but I know it won't last long. It's doing really bad.
Well, I'm probably gonna go see it again.
Flash
but
was awful.
I thought it was pretty decent, right? And I thought that the ending, you know, they had that whole joke, everything. But I thought that was fairly an end. It's just nothing ends nowadays, you know. I'd be surprised if I went to go see Oppenheimer and the end was like, you may have seen Oppenheimer, but wait for Einstein too.
Why does everything have to be a multiverse story?
I don't know.
We're living in a time where the multiverse is being explored in every which way possible.
I genuinely wouldn't be surprised. Like I'm so excited for Blue Beetle, you guys, but I genuinely would not be surprised if this movie ended with like somebody, some random ass hero coming
If
in
TMNT Mutant Mayhem goes into the multiverse.
I wouldn't. I feel like that'd be like kind of funny. Like I feel like if we saw like the other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I feel like that'd be like something. But to like,
did you know? Spoiler alert! I have not seen the movie. The new Indiana Jones. I don't know if you saw. They go into the multiverse.
No way, really?
I'm absolutely serious.
For what? What do they do?
I don't know.
Oh
I have
God.
no idea what's going on anymore.
Right.
I don't know what Disney's obsession is. I have no idea.
I'm sure we'll get a Barbie too as well, and I'm sure they'll go into the multiverse of Barbie land, Barbie culture.
Before we get into the second half and some of the things we want to do to celebrate 1 year of doing this,
1 year and 3 days.
look at our little grimace back here from the first episode that we did in person.
Grimace.
Add that hot sauce to our back here. As an artifact for last episode, we have the bomb.
The bomb.
The bomb.
The bomb.
It's the pain and suffering.
He'll get in the ring with the rest of them as well.
Speaking of ring, I have been shoving this idea down Justin's throat in a way that I mean in more PG than the way I said it. But I say, hey, if we blow up, we got to do a boxing match. People hate me and my opinions. You're the good guy, I'm the bad guy. Imagine us getting in a ring, squaring off for a couple rounds. He's just scared he's going to lose.
I'm not. I just don't want to do this.
Listen, not even that. What if it was like a pro wrestling match?
If it was a pro wrestling match, like it's just, it'd be good publicity, right? It'd be good publicity for us, okay? But it's just like, it's just such the idea is just like getting. I just couldn't imagine us fighting two fat dudes just in a ring.
Two dudes
just
flopping
sumo
around.
wrestling
Hey,
at
you
that
saw the big what's his name?
What dude?
Fat Francis and the other dude that fought recently in a boxing match. Oh my God. Okay, well I gotta show you that later.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, they got at it and they stood in that ring. We could do it.
I guess.
It'd
We're
be
not gonna
good.
be shirtless though.
It'd be good content. How's life? You've had a week off from the podcast. Anything exciting happened?
No, it's really been boring. Very
Yeah.
boring. I'm so tired. I was at the house most of the time, and it was just like I was losing my mind, kind of. I was losing my mind. Because really, like, you know, it's just I feel like I've been out of work for so long. Like, I don't even know why. I literally was at work Friday, but like, I feel like, you know, I'm so excited for school to start back up, honestly, because it gets me out the house. It gets me somewhere else besides my home.
Yeah.
'Cause, you know, just like when you're at home, it's like what? Like you're gonna sit down.
You're
gonna
either
stay
working
there.
or you're sitting at home doing
Yeah.
nothing.
And you know, with school and work and the gym, I'm literally there all day, and you know, I just get to chill. Then I get to get out, hang out with some people. Just that entire environment.
I definitely feel that life has just been. We live in Ohio, and weather here has been really complicated. You can't really go out and enjoy summer because it's
Yeah.
raining or gross. And when it's not, it's
That's
just
what
hot. It's just hot. And
Very hot. Oh my god, like incredibly.
So I've just been kind of stuck inside and trying to make the best of life. I think things will be picking up for me soon because August, there's a lot of great movies coming out. We have Mutant Mayhem, Blue Beetle, The Meg, Gran Turismo, even though it was delayed, it's still coming out in August.
All of you comment down below to tell Jeremy to stop going to movies by himself. All right.
I do. Hey, I get a lot of hate for this. All right.
I don't
judge
there's,
me.
there's no hate. I don't hate. You know, it all comes from a place of love and care. All right. I've been friends with Jeremy for 8 years now. It's almost a decade. Can you believe that? It'd be crazy.
That is wild.
But I've been friends with Jeremy for 8 years.
And the worst 8 years of my life.
No, and then so I don't judge him, right?
He's very
I do judge
me all the time.
But it's just I want us to go to the movies together. And then he just goes and see the movie.
Listen, I was kind of going to get into this a little bit. I'll touch on it briefly. So this weekend is WWE SummerSlam in Detroit. I'm going with my family. I'm very excited. We're going to be down there all day as wrestling takes over Motor City. It's a big event, the biggest party of the summer. Justin's not really a wrestling fan, but it's a big deal, Justin. And excited. LA Knight's going to be there. LA Knight.
Yeah.
He knows that.
Mm-hmm.
I always struggle in the week leading up to these events because I'm nervous. I'm very, very anxious. Anything that has to do with being excited or having fun, it is hard for me to get up and do it because I have very bad social anxiety. Movies for me have always been an escape from that. So, recently I feel like I've been watching a lot more movies because a new school year is starting and I'm out of school, but things are changing. Things are changing at work. Things are changing at home. And my social anxiety has just been terrible. So I oftentimes, to find an escape, just get up and go and get up and just take myself to a movie and sit there with nothing but myself and a story in front of me. Sometimes I'll turn on a movie at home on a streaming service at night. I don't pirate movies, okay? That's illegal 99% of the time. But for me, it's a way to get out of my own head. I have had social anxiety for a while. Sometimes it's worse than it is. But recently I feel like it's been at a peak. So that's why I go to movies by myself sometimes. But sometimes I go with friends. I think I'm bad at making plans. I think I'm bad at putting myself forward and being like, hey, let's go do something. If no one makes the plans, then I'll just be like, oh, guess they don't want to go then. I'll go on my own.
Me and Jeremy, it's just,
being young adults is hard. It's a hard time in life. I feel so disconnected. But, we're slowly working towards being able to maintain our friendship, being able to maintain our creative minds while also having these very complex lives and dealing with our own problems. That got deep. That got really deep. That's the finish line for this week's main episode, but we did record more where we revisit some segments from the TFZ past, and that content will go up for our Discord community. So if you want part 2 of this podcast episode, go join our Discord in the description below. We're trying to turn it into something. We need your guys' help. Also, thank you so much for anyone that's been on this journey through our first year of doing this. So much more exciting stuff to come. Stay tuned. Peace.